Good evening, everyone. We will call tentative agenda work session for, on August 8th, setting the tentative agenda for August 22nd council meeting. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Mayor Williams,
Here.
Vice Mayor Hilton. Here. Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Webb. Here. City Manager Dorsey.
Here.
City Attorney Litcher.
Here. Underneath old business, item A would be ordinance number 1111, an ordinance of the city council of the city of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend the zoning regulations and the zoning map of the city of East Ridge, Tennessee, so as to rezone the property located at 529 Farley Road, tax map 170G-A-006.02 from A1 agricultural district and R1 residential district to RT-1 residential townhouse district. This would be second and final reading if it passes tonight during the regular agenda session. Council, do you have any discussion? See none, I'll move into new business. Item A, an unnumbered ordinance to allow mobile food units in East Ridge. It would be the first reading. Mr. Custer.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, we are still working on this ordinance. It was actually scheduled. We were tentatively planning on having it on first reading tonight. But this ordinance and the next ordinance, we're still putting together the final draft for discussion purposes.
Council, do you have any discussion?
Yes, sir. I talked to one restaurant owner last night. He asked me to ask if we couldn't put this off till the city mailed out some advertisement on this to all the restaurants to get their opinion on how these food trucks might hinder their businesses, especially the ones down on the lower end, due to the fact that that's where the most of the venues will be, is at Camp Jordan Park. And they would like to have us say in it, but I told him they were more than welcome to come during a communication from citizens. But he did ask if we would mail out a letter advising, well, what it's all going to be about. But I told him we didn't have no specs, no nothing set up on it yet.
Yeah, that's correct. We're still drafting the ordinance, but basically it's written similar to Chattanooga. And the reason being is because if they go get a license in Chattanooga and they come to East Ridge, or if they go to Red Bank, or if they go to Collegedale, they all need to be similar. So, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I've had this one individual call me about the same thing. Yeah. So there's different ways you can do it. You can set limitations. Like I say, this is initial draft for discussion purposes to determine the direction the city would like to go.
Would it be impossible to mail out a letter to the restaurants?
I would recommend not mailing them out because you may miss a couple restaurants, but we have it publicized that we're doing this, obviously, and it's on our agendas and stuff. We could try, but I'm just afraid we don't have a list of the exact restaurants that are here, and there may be somebody that's a home caterer, maybe somebody that's this, that. We don't have all of them. I'm afraid we might miss one, because normally we don't do that, and I would not want to start a precedent of something that we normally don't do at this time. But we're more than happy to talk to any of the restaurants that want to call City Hall and talk to them. And like you said, when we have the meeting, we'd be happy to hear from them at that point as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council?
My personal opinion on the trucks, we have 4 or 5 of these trucks down at the park. It's a big soccer tournament, softball tournament. Then those trucks are down there, and that's gonna take away money from Jordan Crossing restaurants, from the barbecue, the Chick-fil-A, and it's possible to hurt all the way up to the Crystal from the park. You know, trucks being there instead of people leaving to go out to our brick and mortar restaurants to eat.
Understand. Also, we have an agreement also with Fun Time Foods too. I don't know how it would
Right,
impact.
because we have concessions right now that are in Camp Jordan Park. A lot of people just eat right there.
I'm sure y'all are looking at all that.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the things we have to research.
contract with food in the arena.
Yeah, that's another thing that threw up to me last night, so what do y'all want trucks in the park for? You just spent 2.3 million on the bathrooms, concession stands, and the ball fields down there, and that's a good point.
Do we expect to see something next council meeting?
Yes, that's our plan.
Plans, okay. Any other questions on item A? Item B, another unnumbered ordinance to allow microbreweries and nanobreweries to locate in Easteries. It would be the first reading.
As Mr. Custer stated, both of these, we are doing some further research on, to make sure we try to get it as good as possible on the reading that we give you all. Then you had a couple questions that came up that we're just researching to make sure we're following the law correctly, and that we're trying to stay somewhat close to what Chattanooga does, because we want, some of that business to come this way as well.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, sir. I'd like to see us put a max of 2 or 3 maybe breweries out here, instead of letting them start stacking up on every corner.
I-
I would like to see a max put on. And, this clause you got in here said this would also include tasting rooms at off-site breweries licensed in the state of Tennessee. So is that going to allow any brewery to put a tasting room in East Ridge?
It could.
So we're going to have more tasting rooms than we're going to have breweries if this max gets put in.
I don't foresee that.
Next paragraph down here, you got in, you want to put in, be able to put patios onto places to sell beer.
Right.
Okay. I'd like
We
to
have
see-
patios already, but right now for the outside, in order to have a beer outside, you have to be under a permanent structure. Well, we have been asked by a couple of restaurants, yes, they have no problem with the shade, but they also want to be on some tables that may not be under the permanent structure. They have umbrellas or things like that if people want to enjoy the
I'd
sunshine
like to
as
see
well.
put in there, where they have to enter from the business and exit through the business, instead of exiting off of the patio or entering through the patio.
Okay.
Some kind of control point, basically.
Yeah, we were looking at that at first, honestly, Councilor Cagle. We may have a problem at one of the restaurants because of the way it's built to be able to do that if it's already existing. But if we have them have one control point where they have to enter and exit, they just can't walk off anywhere they want, that's one of the things we were looking at. That's actually one of the things we're researching to make sure we get that right.
The reason why I think about entering mostly is because of the age. The exit, keep me from, letting them enter from the outside and be buying the beer and they come up and sit outside.
Well, they could do that if you're inside too.
Oh, I understand that, but not if they're underage.
Well, they could like at Blaze, they could walk in and have a beer inside.
Yeah.
Shouldn't obviously, but they. But those are, you're right, sir. Those are the things we're looking at to make sure we would try to draft it as best we can.
In our ordinances or codes here, I found, 8-207 reads, it should be unlawful for any person to sell, store, distribute, or manufacture beer without first making applications for a permit from the beer board. So we've already allowed the manufacturing of the beer.
Right.
Permit, so this is not gonna be nothing new. And then, 8-209, just, it states separate permits shall be required for, and it lists each one of them. In other words, he's gonna manufacture it, then he has to have a permit
Right.
separately for manufacturing.
Right. And I don't have that in front of me, but yes, I believe there's one.
8-209, I looked it up.
I believe it. Because that would be one of the things we'd have to rewrite is having a license for manufacturing and on-site consumption. Because manufacturing is like you just have a manufacturer and they ship it off.
Right.
This would be for manufacturing and on-site consumption, like if you even had a big restaurant or something like that.
That's all I got on this.
Any other questions? Item C, an unnumbered resolution awarding a bid for purchase of 4 new 2019 or newer police pursuit sport utility vehicles.
Yes, Mayor, Council, we sent out bid solicitations for 4 new SUVs for the police department. We got 5 bids back, and we're in the process of looking those over. City manager and I are gonna get together before the next meeting and come up with a decision on that, a recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, council? All right, item D, an unnumbered resolution awarding a bid for sports photography for the 2019-2020 sports season.
Yes, Mayor and Council, Parks and Recreation Department solicited bids for sports photography for our participants in our leagues, and we received 3 qualified bids back on August the 6th when we opened those bids. Life Touch Photos offered 25% of gross sales as commission, and then it was followed by Great Photos with 20% and Smacks Photography with 15%. So we will be bringing a recommendation to you at the next meeting.
Thank you, sir.
The reason it's not on this meeting is because the bid was during this week. We didn't feel it, there was no need to add it to the agenda.
Any questions, council? Item E, purchase of 2 sidearm sanitation vehicles.
Mayor and Council, as you're aware, during the budget preparation phase, we had planned on purchasing at least 1 new sanitation vehicle. Since that time, we lost 1 due to fire, which ended up being a total loss. We did receive confirmation from the insurance company that we're going to be compensated quite well for that vehicle. So we are looking at different options for vehicles, different specs. We've had some demos come by. We actually have one that'll be here next Wednesday. And it's one of the larger ones. It's actually similar to what's ran in North Chattanooga. North Chattanooga, as you well know, is a pretty tight area, small streets, narrow streets, and they run a 33-yard truck. So we're actually going to take that around our streets and see how it actually works. But the idea would be to, if we go with a slightly larger truck, the hope is to eliminate at least 1 trip to the transfer station per day, which would save on a lot of time.
And one other thing we talked about was with this truck, we want to make sure any issues you may have with the extra weight that might be associated with a larger truck.
Right.
So that's one reason we're just taking out some of those streets over there. Plus, we still have other trucks that are still single axle that we may use on some of those other streets. But this gives, we're trying to go through all that, but this gives them a chance to go out and sort of test the wheels and see how it works.
Yeah, they're larger, more capacity, but they're also high capacity. So, but we'll have specs and everything together. And hopefully, ideally, if we can, we would like to be able to do this through a cooperative purchasing. If we're able to do that, that would allow us to make a local purchase, which would also be local warranty work, keep us from having to run to Nashville to get parts or take it out of state, so.
Thank you, sir. Council, do you have any questions?
In the memo here, they were looking at 28-yard trucks. I've called around and checked, and we're gonna be going from the low end of a 28-yard truck is 56,000. The high end is 66,000 for GVW, gross vehicle weight. And on the 20 yards we're using, the low end is 39,000 to 42,000. That's the low and high end on the GVW. I have a real problem with jumping our GVW even up to the 56,000 due to the fact of the shape that some of our roads are in out here. sliding around the cul-de-sac, so that's gonna be ripping the asphalt up. And, I got just a ballpark figure on a couple of trucks, and, 28 yards, the low end would be 275,000, the high end would be 300,000 on the 28-yard trucks. And then on the 20-yard trucks, it's 175,000 on the low end, 200,000 on the high end. So I would be more inclined, if we're going to spend up to that $550,000 to $600,000, let's stay with what we got, the size trucks we've got, and buy 3 trucks. Also, I'd like to inquire about we have one truck down with a fuel problem, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And it can't be fixed?
They've supposedly figured out it's a wiring harness.
It is
Come on up.
wiring.
Come on up, Robert. While you were gone, Mr. Custer, we let Robert get a little experience talking as well, so
Go ahead,
had him
Robert.
come on up here to.
Just hit the speakers on, with the mic.
How about that?
That's good.
There you go.
There we go. All right, yeah, the wiring harness on this truck, the truck is actually out of date. It's hard to find parts for these trucks anymore. The wiring harness that we ordered, and we did receive it in today, and they tried to hook it up to that, on the VIN number on that truck, and it's not matching up. But it's the same harness that they're using today. So that's the issue we're having right now.
Wonder where they ordered wiring harness from?
We had to order it from Atlanta. It came from the dealership, which is international. I went over to Lee Smith myself and,
They give them the VIN number,
yes, sir.
and still come back wrong.
Yes, sir.
We had 3 radiators do the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the good thing about what we're trying to do by buying local, it's also, right now, for a couple of those that have the Bridgemaster, is that the right word? Bodies? Bridgeport, excuse me. The bodies, we've had to take those out of town to repair. Robert had the very nice event of, fortunate circumstance of riding back from Nashville with me and the mayor. After we're dropping off the other one, he's going back tomorrow, I think, to go pick it back up.
Yes, sir. 8:30 in the morning.
And that's going all the way up there just to get the work done on that. So we're trying to be a lot nicer to have it local where we can get hopefully.
And the others that we have are out of Texas. The only way to get parts is Texas.
Right now, we've got a truck down that's got a frame problem.
Got the updated list.
We have one that obviously needs a motor. It's at Lee Smith. We have one with the fuel feed issues, and we have one that's being picked up in the morning around 8:30, which was 27. The one that had the issue that you were talking about was related to the dump portion of the bed where it had that fracture.
That's the one that's up in Nashville.
Yeah.
It's under warranty, gonna be
Good.
fixed.
Even further north.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir. 5 years.
If they don't pay us for taking it up there, we had to pay our own way up to get it up there.
So we've got 2, the engine, another one coming back, so we're gonna have 2 back in.
Yes, sir.
All right, how about our knuckle boom?
The knuckle boom, we went and got it today. Still having a small issue with it, but we are running it right now. You don't see that it will hurt anything. The only thing that it will do to the truck is eventually stop it where we have to have the work on. And it's, something to do with the oil pressure. You may know more about this. It's a line that goes across the top of the motor and it may be stopped up, is what he's saying. But he did repair the oil leak in it, and he fixed the other things that were wrong with it.
One that sitting down there, blow up on the sucker.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any other trucks down there?
Just 24, that's it.
The one with that's on fire?
No, sir, the one with the wiring.
Okay.
Yes.
None of our trucks now have right-hand drive, and all got the mirror,
Yes, sir.
I mean, the camera.
Yes, sir.
One thing we're hoping, as Mr. Custer said, was, you know, if we get this, if we're able to utilize this larger packer body, it will save us, it could save us over an hour productivity per day per
Per truck.
crew. Because if they're taking 2 trips down to dump it every day, you're having to spend that time going all the way down to 23rd Street and back. So we're hoping that it'll also have the productivity and efficiency. If the weights will work.
Or we're looking at 28-yard or 33-yard.
They're bringing a 33-yarder just because that's what they had, and we want to take the largest one out because if the largest one will actually fit, because for years, that's what everybody says. Some has talked about the road, but otherwise, it's the size, the sheer size of the truck. So one of the first things we did was contact, obviously, the city of Chattanooga, see what they're running in North Chattanooga, because that's the tightest area in pretty much all of Hamilton County. And they will only run 33-yard tandem axle trucks. They won't even purchase a single axle truck anymore. Most of the people we're talking to won't purchase single axle trucks because they're keep having rear end problems, rear end and axle issues.
You know, look,
Could be.
so what are our 20 yards now? Are GVW 39,000?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we took them to 42,000.
32, I think.
The low end's 39,000. High end be 42.
I'm not quite sure on that. If I can think back, I think the single axles right now are 28 on low. Is the ones that we ordered now, is what Melvin had, you know, purchased in the past. But the ones that we have, did specs on this time around, are we upped it. Like the front axle, it'll be 16,000. And then the rear axle will be 28,000. And then it'll equal out gross weight 32.
You're talking about the original, when we originally looked at good trucks, and that's when we kind of stopped until we truly evaluated what vehicles we were going to be looking at purchasing. Clearly, what we've been purchasing in the past isn't what we need to be purchasing any longer.
I'm through discussion.
Any other discussion, council?
Thank you.
Thank you. See none. Does anyone have anything else that we would need to add to the work agenda for next, agenda session? Do you have any items? Nope. All right, so, do you have anything you'd like to discuss?
I don't have anything, Mayor.
Yeah, I drive through the park the other day, and, while I was looking up these other codes about the beer, I found a 20-106 says no alcohol in the park, and I've noticed all the alcohol signs took down in the park. Are there a reason for that? Check into it and get them back up.
Isn't alcohol allowed in the park though?
It is a special permit, it's right.
So it's allowed for that, so maybe that's why the signs were taken down.
It's only allowed to.
If it's allowed on special permits, and, yeah. But you can't take a cooler beer to go watch a softball, or watch a baseball.
These signs that I'm talking about particularly were around the ball field, they were posted around the ball fields.
Unless they were taken down during renovation, different signs were put up, I don't know, we will check into it.
Currently have new signs that went up, rules around our ball fields that state no alcohol, no unlawful substances. It's on the rule sign, but I'm not aware of any specific rule signs that said no alcohol. I've not seen
Well, there
those.
used to be one at the entrance to field number 9 and 10. And there used to be one down at the entrance of the first 2 fields coming in from the parking lot, and across from the soccer field. That's the 2 signs I noticed missing.
They could have been there and been torn down when they replaced the fence, but I'm not aware of those signs. But we do have We do have that on our new rule sign. If you go up to the fence, it's on a nice post, and we just put those in last week.
I also noticed that the, designated smoking area has been took down.
Not aware of those signs either.
I didn't say sign in the whole area. They took the canopy down and the seats out. It's out there across from the soccer field. There, just you pull in the parking lot there on the right-hand side, going out the back side. Someone to check in on that.
Anything else, sir? Okay. All right, we will adjourn this agenda work session and we'll resume in about 3 minutes with our regular session.